presentation is Anti-Motivate for Success. Anti-Motivate for Success, Sam Lockwood.
Good morning, Toastmasters. Now, if some of you have been to more than one of these area contests, you have undoubtedly heard some great inspirational speeches. And if you've heard a few of them, some common themes tend to emerge. They tell us to be goal-oriented. They inspire us to work hard. And they demonstrate the wisdom of being disciplined and working toward these goals. Now, undoubtedly, these inspirational speeches help us. We become more driven, more focused, and sometimes even more successful than we were before. But I have to tell you that looking at the people I really admire in the world, the people that I want to emulate, they're not just goal-oriented. They're not just hardworking. They're not just disciplined. They're also creative. And I think that's something that sometimes gets left behind in the information that we share about this. Well, let me ask this. Of you people in the audience, how many of you have created something new and different from what you've done before in the last 30 days? Show of hands? Oh, we have a lot of you in there. So if I had asked myself that question a year ago, I would have been unable to raise my hand. So I read a book. It's titled The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron. Now, Julia is yet another one of the talented ex-wives of Jim Cameron, the filmmaker. And what her book is really focused on is for creative people who feel their creativity is waning or has dried up entirely, helping them to unblock that creativity. And what she tells us is often diametrically opposed to the advice that we get from the standard inspirational speech. And in thinking about it, I realized that what she is talking to is a different side of the brain from what the standard inspirational speech talks to. You see, your left brain is the logical, the linear side of you. And that's what this information about being hardworking and goal-oriented speaks to. But you have another side. The right side of your brain is the creative side, the nonlinear side, the side of you that comes up with those wild ideas, makes those big leaps of inspiration. And unless we go ahead and nurture that, we cannot be as fulfilled and do as many good things in the world as we would like to do. Now, in reading the books, I came up with kind of a personification of the two sides of my brain. The left side of my brain I think of as the drill sergeant. When it is in the grip of a sufficiently dynamic motivational speech, it says to me, "Soldier, I want you up at 0600 tomorrow. I want you to run 10 miles, come home, drink half a cup of decaffeinated coffee, get a single whole wheat cracker with a smear of tofu, and then get into the office half an hour before anyone else." Anyone else have that guy talking to? Well, but when I read Julia Cameron's book, it seemed to me that the right side of the brain, the creative side, had a completely different personality. I think of him as an autistic guy. He's my inner Rain Man. He can do brilliant things, but he's a little skittish. At the least provocation, he will go and hide in the cave. And we need to do things to entice him to come out. So getting to the actual advice, where our typical motivational speech tells us to be goal-oriented, Julia tells us we need times without goals. We need times where we allow our creativity to explore things. We need to take off those blinders we put on when we go seeking a goal like a laser. She would tell us that while hard work is a good thing, we need time away from work. We need to do those things that nurture the creative side of us. We need to go to a film, go to a play, go to a gallery, or even just go putter around in our garden. Do something that is not quite so focused, that will go ahead and nurture those things. And on the subject of discipline, she would say discipline is a good thing, but we need some time away from that. We need some time where we inject a sense of play into our lives. Because when we inject a sense of play, we entice the Rain Man out of his cave. We allow him to start coming up with ideas, many of them bad, many of them ridiculous. But once we get that flow going, that allows some of the good ideas to come through. Niels Bohr, a Nobel Prize-winning physicist, once gave a very long argument for a particular view of how we should see the world. But he concluded that speech with the phrase, "The opposite is also true." And I would say to you that while the conventional wisdom that we get from inspirational speeches is true, often the opposite is also true. Go free your inner Rain Man. Madam Toastmaster.